I've started my internship in the Mirror Room, a hotel restaurant in Rosewood, London. I've put what I've learned in school first to the Mirror Room and then brought what I've developed to the in-room dining department. When I first arrived, I was surprised that my colleagues are so culture diversified. They're from all over the world. Under such environment, English is the only way of communication between associates and so are the guests. Living in an English-speaking society allows me to push my English to the next level. I also take advantage of my language abilities and be a translator for Chinese guests. I'm certainly aware that my verbal English has become more fluent. London's diversity can also be seen in its people and food. People of different racial backgrounds stay inside London. Wide varieties of cuisine are provided. Despite a complex cultural environment, people are generally nicer and more helpful. Nevertheless, a more developed city doesn't mean more discipline. Rubbish are visible in busier underground stations and lines or on the street. Drinking is a common social activity for Londoners. People usually have drinks with their colleagues or friends after work, which explains why there are so many bars and clubs in London. Through the improvement of English, I believe that I can achieve better communication with foreign students and use English more efficiently at work in the future. I will also be aware of cultural differences and avoid misunderstandings in communication. Associate I have worked with had treated me very well and I have had a good time with them. However, I've isolated myself with the others at first as an act of self-protection. I was more afraid than I expected. Gradually, I opened my heart to them because of their kindness, and went out to have drinks and hang out with them. The situation has gotten better when I went to the in-room dining. My fear of being deceived has become a barrier to build a stable relationship with my colleagues. I better understand my personality and would be able to deal with worries when I meet new people. I know as well how Western people would gather and drink to socialize. Subjective, I kind of finish it in a different way. Neither was I able to work in two restaurants, nor was I have the chance to do bartending and banqueting. Yet I did work in two different outlets under the food and beverage department. As told above, I moved to in-room dining in June. It is a precious experience to work in departments with similar operation, as I was able to utilize and extend my knowledge. In the restaurant, we serve with our heart to create pleasant dining experience, while in in-room dining, we give customized service for guests to feel even more comfortable in their own space. It allows me to learn how to serve guests in different circumstances. In restaurant, quicker reactions are taken upon guest requests, while in room service, everything will be prepared for the guests before serving them. I did get a touch of bartending in the Mirror Room. They built a foundation of wine and cocktail knowledge for me. I also get to serve the Envy group with dinner and lunch buffets, including more than 100 guests. These large-scale events certainly give me a brief idea of a pen operation. Being an entry-level employee, I normally hand serious complaints to my superior because I lack experience to deal with them. But common complaints like long waiting time, incorrect food orders, or low quality of food, I will make use of the techniques taught in school to deal with it. First, listen to their concerns, then explain and apologize, and then last, take corresponding actions to solve the problem. I will either handle it myself or to the person responsible for the service station. On the other hand, in in-room dining, as I was not a call receiver, I demonstrated compensational actions instead of carrying out the steps before that. This includes apologies from other departments. Proper attitude is required when handling complaints. It doesn't only settle guests' unsatisfied feelings, but also raising the possibility for the guest to revisit the hotel again. 6 months is short, but long enough for me to understand how my personality may affect my work. On the first few months, I have been mainly focusing on working in the back area, even though others advised me to start going on the floor. I was clearing up dirty trays and tables, and also polishing. I gradually started to make hot beverages and mastered it even during busy breakfast periods. I also delivered food orders from the kitchen to the person in charge of the station, but I wasn't feeling right to deliver orders by myself until one of the supervisors made me do so. It wasn't a big deal. Later, they taught me how to do breakfast and lunch service, and only then I was confident enough to serve guests directly. When I moved to in-room dining, I was only delivering orders. I didn't take any orders from the phone due to unfavorable working conditions and more lack of confidence. The obsession in achieving perfection has deterred me from learning. I was too afraid to make mistakes to the point that I would rather not doing it. Perfectionism is about improving from mistakes to reach better results instead of remaining at the same spot. I could have enhanced my learning progress, but the fear of imperfection only made me inconfident. But the more mistakes I make, the more I learn. What is important is about learning a lesson from them. This distorted concept has rooted deeply in me, and I have to put myself in my comfort zone for the rest of my life if I don't change anything. Also, the restaurant offers a French-style food in the a la carte menu, which is very difficult for me because my knowledge in Western food ingredients is very limited. There are a lot of vegetables in the menu that I have never heard of before. It is difficult for me to remember the a la carte menu, especially when it changes during the season. I could have just memorized them, but it is not effective because I cannot explain to the guests what it is exactly. Therefore, I always work at the back areas at night shifts, and I didn't got opportunities to handle night service. Additionally, I wasn't learning that much about cocktails, and it is time consuming to go from the very basics. If I could have been more active in asking for materials on cocktails, I might have known more by now. This passive attitude has held me back from making further progress. That being said, being friendly and obedient is the reason why I fit into both teams very well. To be honest, I relied on a team a lot. I sought and listened to advices from coworkers because they have more experience than me. I was quite clumsy at first, but then they always reminded me the easier way to do it. My associates loved my hardworking nature as well. I was willing to take on the task that is within my ability. I usually wouldn't refuse what others asked for me to help, no matter it is my manager or other waiters. As a team, we help each other, and I try to finish all my duties within the shift, and sometimes stay longer when the department was busy. Being observative is also one of my strengths. I could always find something that needed to be done in the department. By observing my associates, I could learn some skills indirectly. I gave the right answer when the assistant manager in-room dining asked about the procedures of taking orders. Although I didn't learn anything about it, but I heard from them, so I already know the basics of what they are doing when they're taking orders. I observe when I clean from the rooms so that I may know ingredients that the guests disliked about the food that they ordered. Listening to guest opinions is also a part of a job, and I will figure out what improvements or adjustment we could have made to the menu items. It is an advantage for me to be fluent in Mandarin and English when the hotels had more Chinese guests in the summer. As there was a limited number of Chinese employees, I was often told to go to other departments to help. I might not answer all questions of the guests, but I acted as the bridge between the guests and my associates. This also allows me to learn more about the hotel when helping them. It is grateful to see guests feeling more comfortable when they're talking to me in their own language. In terms of training, the hotel offered quite a number of them, conducted either by the Human Resources Department or the department that I was working with. I was taken to a 3-day discovery session with the other newcomers to be introduced to the culture and features of Rosewood Hotel groups. For the most part, we were listening to presentations, but we also get to participate in interactive parts. It gave thorough information about the hotel and create a basic picture of what it is like to be working there. At work, they had created a buddy system for each and everyone to learn in an orderly way. One of the assistant manager was monitoring me and gave me trainings on breakfast and lunch service through role plays, which results in the breakthrough in the area of my duties. I exercised the knowledge and towards the end I was able to handle the whole service station by myself in the morning. Also, the sommelier of the restaurant carried out wine training several times a week so that we can be more familiar about the wines we offer. This is quite challenging for me as I have relatively less understanding about wines than the others. In in-room dining, I was already fully trained on service before, so they didn't go deep into it, but instead go through the standards and the food menu with me. In the mirror room, casuals are working regularly. This means that I don't have to focus solely on work at the back area, but instead went on the floor more. I wasn't a trainee hired only to do the lower skilled task. They tried their best to put me on the floor so I can learn more. The way of staffing is fair, and it was possible for all of us to learn more through experience on the floor. They were very open-minded and gave as many opportunities as possible for interns to train. However, it is difficult when business volume was high and we were busy enough to serve the guests. In the morning shift, we were so busy during breakfast and we had to deal with the mess from breakfast during the turnover. It is hard for us to do anything else other than work, especially when we have some reservations at lunch. If the shift starts in the afternoon, we need to finish refilling and cleaning. By the time that I went back from dinner after that, orders might already come through. It is even worse in the mirror room because our afternoon tea is quite popular. This happened in both departments, making training very difficult to carry out.